your opponent mounted you, you got caught in the arm bar, you were late to the spiderweb part of it, okay? So, mount and S mount arm bar. My thumb's messed up, so use this side. Sorry. From here, my opponent's going through his flow. I missed the spiderweb, but I'm gonna be able to get my gable grip here. Okay, go ahead, continue on. So, I wasn't able to sit up, and because I wasn't able to get the spiderweb, it's gonna be hard for me to get that leg off my head. If you're in a gi, you can grab your own gi, that's pretty secure. That allows you to secure your threatened arm and use your free hand, as opposed to no gi, where you have to have a gable grip because you got nothing to hold on to. As soon as you let go, this arm's gone, right? So if you want to keep the gable grip, that's fine. If you want to grab your gi, that's fine too. I'm just going to show you from the gable grip here. All right, so my right arm is caught. Let's look at his body compared to my body. We're perpendicular right now, okay? So what I'm going to do is, my goal is to get my left arm, my non-threatened arm, underneath his foot, but obviously it's hard to do. So what I'm gonna do is, watch, I turn away from my opponent and I'm gonna walk parallel and at the same time get my left elbow or my non-threatened arm underneath his foot. Everybody see where I'm at right now? From here, now I'm gonna use my arms and legs together to get his foot in between my legs. Watch his knees as I turn perpendicular again. So after I get his leg in between mine, watch what I do. I'm gonna swing back to my original position. And now look what I've done to his legs. Knees super wide apart, okay? Even if he goes for the arm bar here, it's gonna be hard to finish because there's nothing holding my arm here, okay? So, keep threatening the arm bar. It doesn't mean I'm out free. I can still absolutely be caught in it. It's just much less of a threat right now. From here, what happens next, honestly, is gonna be dependent on what your opponent's gonna do. So let's go over the perfect scenario. From here, I'm gonna turn towards my opponent and get my threatened arm to the floor. Okay, I'm now past his hip line, so he can't get the arm bar anymore. From here, my opposite hand is going to come in, hug his hip here. Now from here, as I continue to get out onto my elbow, I'm going to switch to my knees and immediately pivot pass on my opponent here. Okay? Again, that's the perfect scenario. I'm not saying that's going to happen every time. But let's get through the first part, which is the arm bar defense. So, your opponent did everything. He sat back for the armbar. I was late on the spider web. I can't sit up. Cool. My goal is to get my non-threatened arm underneath his foot, but it's a little bit hard. So what I'm going to do is walk, pivot, or turn away from my opponent, walk parallel, and now use my elbow to get underneath his foot. I'm going to use my elbow and my lower body together to get his foot, and then swing back perpendicular. Watch what I did to his legs. His knees are super wide apart now. Okay? From here, my threatened arm is still in between his hip line, so I'm going to rotate my body until my threatened arm is to the floor, and I'm going to hug his leg. From here, get my arm out, post to my knees, and immediately start passing the guard here. Any questions? Everybody see how everything kind of works together to get out of that arm bar, and ideally on top. I'm not going to say that's happening. That's a weird scramble position because their leg is still over your head. Your legs are controlling their legs, so I've seen a lot of weird scrambles from them. Any questions? But the important part is getting out of the armbar. Go. All right, on three. 1, 2, 3. Go. My opponent's flowing through the armbar. Here, I got my gable grip. So everybody's technique here looks good. Again, one thing from here, I'm not going to shift my body, right? I'm turning away from him, okay? At the same time, I'm trying to get this elbow underneath my opponent's leg. What's going to help me is the fact that I'm turning away from him, not just like scooting my butt like this. So I'm turning away from him, getting this underneath his leg, and look, after I catch his leg, I swing back perpendicular here. Get your threatened arm to the floor, hug. From here, watch. After I post this arm, I'm not going to take my foot and go into my opponent here, because if my opponent kicks his leg straight, I'm falling back. Okay. So after I establish this post, instead of trying to go forward into him, I'm going to flip to my knees here. Everybody sees the difference, right? And now I can get to a position to move. Small but significant difference. If your opponent isn't resisting, then absolutely go forward into him. Chances are you're going to have to flip to your legs. Okay. All right. Let's go. So that's about a mid escape. Let's go on a late escape where you didn't get the gable grip, you didn't get the spider web, and your arm's almost already straight. Okay. We're going to go over 2 different hitchhiker escapes. Okay. From here, my opponent's flowing through his armbar. Here. He got to this position already, and I wasn't able to get anything. Okay. The first hitchhiker escape, you're going to take your threatened arm, and you're going to grab the top of his leg here. or at least attempt to grab the top of his leg here, okay? Because I do not want my thumb or my pinky on his chest and my thumb to the sky. That's what we're trying to avoid. It's called a hitchhiker because you're giving the thumbs up here. Imagine if you were giving the thumbs up here. We're not going to let him get it straight. I'm going to imagine grabbing the outside of my opponent's thigh here. At the same time, I'm breaking this up into steps, but this should happen at the same time. I'm walking my legs parallel. I'm turning my body. I'm walking my legs parallel, just like I did with the last escape. Okay, so as he goes back, I'm grabbing the outside of his legs. At the same time, I'm walking my feet parallel, and I straighten out my arm until I come out here. Where you end up is going to be dependent on what your opponent gives you. As long as you avoid the triangle, you'll be okay. Okay, so again, go through the whole armbar from the beginning. From here, he mounted me. Now start from the mount. He mounted me. He's flowing through his armbar. He was so good with it that I couldn't put any kind of defense on. As soon as he sits back, watch. I imagine I'm grabbing the top of his thigh as I walk parallel. Right about here, as soon as I get parallel, I'm going to throw my leg over and start getting to my belly here. Chances are I'm going to come out behind the hamstring and pass from here. That's the ideal situation. At no point did I let my pinky touch his chest and my thumb to the sky, because then that's when the armbar happens. Okay? Again, let's go over that one more time. Go a little bit faster this time. So again, person on top, you're just going to flow through that S-mount armbar. This time I'm not going to make any connection to my body. Here, he's going through the armbar. He gets that S-mount. As soon as he sits back, I grab the top of his leg. I sit out. Or sorry, I don't sit out. I get parallel. I get to my knees here, and I hug the leg for a single underpass. Okay? Any questions? Anyone needs to see it again? Go. All right, on three. 1, 2, 3. Go.
Alright guys, welcome back. We're in the head and arm choke and the various variations. This week we got Zach on top. I cannot see who's on bottom, but Zach's on top. Gets the smother system under light resistance. Got his hands connected together. Oh, looks like Nate's on the bottom. Okay, so I want to go over one. On top, Zach on the bottom. Zach sliding into position. Oh, Zach gets the early escape right behind the hamstring. He's got to turn his body to get his right elbow out of danger. Going to be really hard for... I would keep that position. He looks like he's like trying to let go with his left arm. I would keep that behind his hamstring. Yeah. There we go. Josh doing the smart thing of connecting his legs together. Zach gets it. Looks like he's getting some separation with the legs. Going to be real hard for Josh to finish, and beautiful escape. That's a very good example of an early escape. Earlier the better, in my opinion. Josh slides back into position. Again, with the early escape. Oh, but he's kind of stuck here. I don't think Josh can finish from here, but I'd rather not give him the chance. Got Beck on top and Alyssa defending. Alyssa needs to connect. Oh, that was beautiful. Now, granted, I don't think Beck was ready for that, but let's see what she did. I think she just got her arm under his leg and went for the head over or leg over head escape. Yep, boom. Yep, there we go. Again, when you're going for the leg over head escape, you don't want to lift up to the ceiling as much as you want their calf to like scrape your face, because it's going to be hard to fight their hamstring. Much easier to get their leg above your head like that, like she's doing right now. She sat up a little bit too soon, in my opinion. I'll show you what I mean in a minute with a little marker. So if they're in position, if you were to go for the leg overhead escape, which we didn't go over this week, you want to attack your opponent's bottom leg, and rather than pushing it up to the sky, you're trying to get it over your head, relatively speaking. Because again, it's easier to go this direction, fighting the small muscles, the hip, rather than the whole hamstring going up this way. Let's see what escape Alyssa does now. Look, walking parallel. I like to see her turn as she walks parallel too. So don't just walk your body parallel. Turn as you walk parallel. Beck, okay, gets the leg in between her leg, and now she gets the elbow out and comes up for the pass. Very good. Ernest on Zach now. Flows to that S-mount armbar. Zach connects his hands together. Let's see which is. I have no idea what escape that was supposed to be. Maybe hitchhiker? There we go. Looks like he's going for the hitchhiker. Taking way too long, though. He would have been tapped like 4 years ago. And again, I don't blame him because they're giving each other a lot of resistance right now. Looks like Ernest is keeping his feet glued together and also his feet glued to the floor. Yeah, I think go. Manages to get under Ernest's bottom leg, then he spins. Now it's going to be harder for Ernest to finish. He's got to get his elbow out of danger. Yep, there we go. Beautiful. And this is what drilling is for. Progressive resistance. At no point was Zach in danger of being hurt, but he did have a significant amount of trouble trying to get that escape. Would he have been tapped in a real match? Yeah, for sure. But this isn't a real match. We're trying to give each other progressive amounts of resistance. Zach going for the armbar on Ernest. Zach going for the armbar on Ernest. Ernest trying to get that elbow underneath Zach's leg. Yep, swings it wide. Yep, Zach. So let's look at something that my coach told me. He said, if you're going for the armbar on the bottom, which Zach didn't go for the armbar on the bottom, but by virtue of Ernest's escape, he's now on the bottom. If you're not completely flat on your back, it's going to be very hard to finish. So even though Ernest's elbow is still inside Zach's hip line here, he's not in too much danger of being finished because of the virtue that Zach is so far stacked on his side here. If you don't believe me, go for an armbar from the bottom and then have your opponent turn you slightly off center and see how much harder it is, just a degree or two, to finish that armbar. Not impossible, but infinitely harder. It's like Ernest is telling me something I don't remember, to be honest with you. Zach slides into position here. Ernest going for that leg over escape. Very good. So this is the tough part. He's got to come up. Well, he's got to get his elbow out of danger first. Again, coming up is great. I encourage people to practice it, but the priority is to get your arm out of danger. Live to fight another day. Survive and then escape. Can't escape if you're tapping. Zach does a very good job of two things. He keeps his feet together very well, and he keeps them to the floor very well. That's a nightmare for anyone to do any kind of mid or late escape. But that's why we practice. Ernest right now is using movement to try and lift Zach's feet off the ground or get him apart side to side. Doing a pretty good job. Yep, manages to get his elbow underneath and secures the legs. Beautiful. You can't tell this from the videos, but Zach is also ridiculously strong. Does a lot of calisthenics. Man, whoever tells you calisthenics doesn't make you strong, I don't know if that's a rumor, but I don't think you have to get under like super heavy weights in order to get super strong for jiu-jitsu. Ernest comes across into the S mount. Josh is taking a little too long to think. He's got that was kind of, I understand what escape he was going for. He was trying to throw the legs over the head, but he went about it wrong. You got to get your arm under your opponent's ankle, throw it over your head, and you throw your thumb down. He kind of mixed up a couple different escapes. Now it's looking like he's going for the mid escape, trying to trap that ankle. Good. He should swing back parallel. Oh, no. That was risky. I think, let me rewind it. I think his elbow was still... okay. We're still at risk here because, look, we haven't really secured anything from Josh's perspective. He doesn't have Ernest's left leg in between his legs, so Ernest is still able to pinch his knees together. Ernest's right leg is still able to go back over Josh's head, and as far as I know, Josh's elbow is still in that hip line. Maybe not. Maybe his elbow is out, but it looked a little risky from my perspective. See him do it one more time. Throwing the thumb down. Yeah, there we go. That was a good escape. Nice. Got Josh on top and Ernest on the bottom here. Josh moving in to the S mount. Gable grip. Oh, that was a good turn. And again, it looks like they're giving each other very little resistance right now, but that was good. Again, in my opinion, just a little bit easier no-gi. I know what they're talking about here, so I'm going to fast forward. Oh, completely missed that one. S-mount again. Hitchhiker escape. Yep, that's the ideal situation. Pretty good. I'd like to see them give each other a little bit more resistance. That's mount armbar. So it looks like Ernest is, yep, traps the leg. Beautiful. Got Alyssa on the top and maybe Dan on the bottom. I think it's Dan. Recognize that gi. Alyssa goes to the S mount and throws the leg over for the armbar. Let's see what response Dan has. Again, he's going for that 10-finger grip. I'd like to see a guillotine grip. From here, he splits the legs, manages to get one of her legs in between his. Comes back parallel, great. She's losing control already. Dan needs to get his elbow to the floor. He's pretty much out at this point. Dan needs to get his elbow to the floor. And I'd like to see him turn the other way. There we go. I must have told him that. Again, elbow to the floor, turn into your opponent. Basically, I'm saying the same thing. In order to get your trapped elbow to the floor, you're going to be turning into your opponent. Here, boom. Yep, I would hit the running man escape from here. Oh, I don't quite know what Dan's doing here. That was a little bit. I wouldn't trust that escape. He kind of combined too many escapes on that one with not committing to either one particularly. And got lucky on that one, in my opinion. Got the flip side now. Nate going for the armbar. Zach defending. Probably like 50% resistance here, maybe a little bit higher. Boom. Zach connects his hands together. See which one he does. Nate going for the grip break. Zach just kind of chilling here. I do not recommend that. Hitchhiker escape attempt. Okay, let's see why that failed. And this will happen, so be prepared for it. Watch Zach as he does his hitchhiker escape. Nate does something very smart. Zach hits a hitchhiker escape. Boom. But he runs into Nate's leg here. You can't see it because it's underneath his leg. By using that, Nate can prevent Zach from going completely belly down. If he's lucky, he can kind of use it to kind of lever Zach back onto his back, which is exactly what happens here. Boom. But if I were Zach, I would shrimp back and turn again. There we go. Nate doing a good job staying up with him. And Zach does something very smart. Gets control of that far leg and pushes it back over. Let me see that again. Oh, something's wrong with my clicker. What is wrong? Here we go. Boom. Runs into it. Gets put back on his back. Runs parallel again. Now let's take a look at Zach. Okay, Zach's left hand, which you can't see right now, is behind Nate's leg right now. That's a very secure position to be. Because it's going to be real hard for Nate to finish that armbar with just that right leg. So, as he comes back around, switches directions, pushes up, and now he's beat that lever, and he has Nate on his back. He probably could have went for a pass from there. That was good. Again, jiu-jitsu works best in combinations. That was a combination between one of the earlier. He actually started with a late escape and then got an arm under the top leg. Love to see it. Look, it's like he's going for the running man escape again. Looks like he went for that top leg. Pushes it off here. Okay, that grip was a little bit different. I wouldn't recommend grabbing the leg like this because, again, your main goal is to get that leg off your head. And the easiest way to do that is not to grab from the top, but to push it from the bottom. But Zach makes it work. Let's see how he made that work. He's here. He simply pushed it off. And looks like his left elbow is definitely out of danger now. It's past the hip line. Just got to watch a triangle as it comes up and manages to pass. Good job. Zach on top, Nate on the bottom. Nate gets a gable grip. Looks like they're going pretty significant resistance here. He's going for the early escape. Didn't get it. Zach doing a good job keeping his feet on the floor. Okay, here is where Nate should be going for the... Oh, no, he turned back around. If you don't get the late escape, I would not recommend turning back towards it because your arm's already extended at that point. Either commit to it and tap or go to a different escape. Here, there we go. That was pretty good. Nate using one of the earlier escapes to get out of danger. Like it. Go and run it back. Here. Snaps into the armbar. Can't quite tell what escape Nate's trying to do from here. Looks like he's going for a mid escape. Oh no, he had a spider web. No. Yes, he does have a spider web. trying to get that spiderweb escape that we went over last week. If his head is, yeah, okay. So Zach's now got a, oh, that was beautiful. Let's look at that again. That was awesome. Hold up. So we're here. Nate is trying to get his head through, which he does. So they end up in this weird position here. Zach's trying to do a few things. Ideally, Zach rolls to his right, gets his left leg back over Nate's head so he can isolate that arm for the armbar. Nate, on the other hand, if he's doing the escape I'm thinking of, is trying to shoulder walk back, get his back on top of Zach's knee here, so he takes the angle of the armbar away from him. Let's see what happens. Here. So Zach looks to extend here. Nate doing the right thing, walking his shoulders back. Zach's looking to extend that arm here. He doesn't have the thumb in the correct position. The thumb should be pointing that way, pinky facing towards his chest. He can lock it over the lower leg. But before he can do that, let's see what Nate does. Nate manages, oh, that was sneaky. Look at Nate's left arm. I did not notice this. So as he's walking backwards, Nate has a control over Zach's right leg with his left arm. He's going to push it this way and then come out the back door here. That was sneaky. I very much like that. We got Zach on top and Dan on the bottom here. Zach flowing through here. Dan's got his hands connected. Okay, I need to see. 10-finger grip is okay, but Gable grip would be much better. Just a more solid grip at this point. From here, it looks like he's going for the mid escape, trying to get his elbow underneath Zach's ankle. Oh, the grip is broken. Should be hitting the hitchhiker escape from here. Let's rewind and look at that. So, right about here, his grip is broken, but his arm is pretty much in a hitchhiker position. Dan should actually be running to the other side. Run parallel and go for the hitchhiker escape. Remember, the mid escape and the late escape, the hitchhiker escape, they kind of work hand in hand. If you're late on the mid escape, just go immediately to the hitchhiker escape because you're already turning parallel. All you got to do is throw your right arm, or your trapped arm over your opponent's top thigh, continue to run parallel and get to your stomach. Here, trying to get his elbow underneath the ankle, having trouble with it, which will happen. Right from there, instead of coming back, yeah, I would have continued to run parallel and go right to the hitchhiker escape, which he should be doing now. Looks like his right arm's over top. Yep, his right arm's in the right position, but he stopped running parallel. Or maybe that was just good on Zach's part. But again, if you find yourself running into a wall on the mid escape, getting the elbow underneath the ankle, try and run it even further parallel and go for the hitchhiker escape. Got Alyssa on top and Ernest on the bottom here. Alyssa occupying both arms for the S mount. Good armbar here. Okay, so we run into a problem here. Let's rewind. Look at Ernest's elbow. Ernest being real smart right now. Ernest already has his elbow in position. That's going to pay dividends later. Again, you can deal with the problem sooner or later, but there's always interest on it later. So that's actually a mistake that Alyssa made. Watch her right leg here as she brings her left leg around Ernest's head to get the S-mount position. Here, she gets lazy with it. Boom. Ernest is already underneath her leg, going to pay dividends. Here, he's simply able to, he can just shrimp his way out, his elbow out of the hip line, I mean. From here, boom, boom. All right, her S-mount definitely needs a little bit of work. Makes the adjustment at the end, gets the armbar position. Again, watch her left leg this time. Super lazy. Look at her left leg. Look, it's already on top of Ernest's elbow. You can see it kind of peeking out right here. Already on top. Ernest is going to have very little trouble elevating that leg, getting her out of position, and not even really applying any of the techniques that we learned today. Just taking the principles of the S-mount away from Alyssa, and he's able to escape in kind of a modified mid-escape. Somewhere with her ankle. Here, S-mount. Yeah, we got to work on that S-mount for Alyssa. She's only been doing it like a week. From here. Okay. So now we ran into a different problem. Good on Ernest's part. But Alyssa goes to the armbar. Oh, no, I'm sorry. She did it right. Ernest was just able to get under her leg. Swings for that mid escape. He's going to sit up. I need to get, yep. Let's look at his right elbow. There we go. Takes the angle away from her and then gets out, gets his arm out of the hip line. Beautiful escape. I don't know. I think we got Bob on top and Ernest on the bottom, maybe. We shall find out in a minute. So here, going for, that's Dan. That's Dan on top, going for the arm bar. Yep, now he's got it. Kinda. He's got to get the S grip a little bit tighter. Boom. Looks like Nate on the bottom. Oh, he lost the grip. So if your opponent loses the grip, I mean, that's the best case scenario. Good job on Nate and continue with the technique. Yeah, but yeah, Dan just lost his grip on that one. Hey, don't look a gift horse in the mouth, right? From here, it's going to pull it across the center line. Get to the S mount. Like how he's occupying that far arm. See if he keeps a grip. He definitely keeps a grip this time. See which one Nate does. Looks like he's going underneath the leg for the mid escape. Yep, there we go. Got to get his elbow to the ground, and now he's got to come up and, if possible, pass the guard. Pretty good. Looks like they're not resisting right now. See him run it one more time. Going for the other arm this. We got Ernest on top and Khaled on the bottom. Ernest the one getting the armbar, of course. See which defense Khaled does. Arms connected. He's having a little bit of trouble getting a leg because I can tell from here he's not using his elbow. He's just trying to swing his leg underneath Ernest's leg. Not going to happen. You have to have your elbow help you elevate his foot and then use that to get his foot in between your legs. Yeah, he would have been armbarred a long time ago. Obviously, Ernest is letting him work here. I would have switched to the late defense from here. Yeah, he's chopped liver at this point. See him then run it again. So again, if you're going for that mid escape, you need to lift your opponent's ankle with your elbow and then deposit it in between your legs. If they're being super lazy and you can get their ankle between your legs, I mean, that's another thing, but never rely on your opponent's incompetence. There we go. That was a beautiful running escape. Let's get that again. That was awesome. So we're here in the armbar position. As soon as Ernest steps back, Khaled throws his arm. I don't know if you can see it, but he throws his arm over Ernest's top leg. He's already walking parallel. As soon as he gets close to parallel, he starts ditching onto his shoulder, onto his chest. Manages to come out the back door. Takes the angle away from Ernest. Beautiful escape. Got Zach on top and Alyssa on the bottom. Zach goes for the armbar. Alyssa does not manage. Now she manages to connect her hands together. Looks like she's going for that mid escape. Yep, gets the elbow underneath the leg. Swings it wide. Beautiful. Comes up. I'd like to see her get her elbow out a little bit sooner. She kind of chilled in there in between the hip line. Her elbow chilled in between the hip line. Just a little bit too long for my taste. Again, number one priority, get your elbow out of danger. Get it out of the hip line. So here goes to the armbar again. Looks like she's going for the mid escape. So now we run into a problem. Zach's being pretty sticky with his foot on the ground. She manages to find it with the elbow. Also, I want to address one thing here. If you're going to grip your hands, you got to have a tight grip. Look at all that space between her fingers here. No, there should be a death grip on your own hand because Zach's being nice by attacking the elbow right now. If Zach really wanted to, he'd be attacking the wrist and it'd be a massive amount of stress on that grip. So get that grip as tight as you can. Moving on with the technique, she's got his leg in between hers. She's swinging out back wide. Let's see if she gets her elbow out a little bit sooner this time. Yeah, right about here, she should be trying to get her right elbow to the floor, which she does. There we go. Now she could grab that leg and come up on top. I think she forgot where she was going from here. Or maybe I was telling her to do something. If she's going to sit back. There we go. Now she hugs the leg. Now she's got to flip onto her legs. But yeah, let me rewind a second here. When you flip onto your legs from here, because of the nature of the position, you actually don't want to roll up into your partner here. Why? Because they have a physical barrier, their leg, this leg right here, preventing you from just flipping onto your knees here. Believe it or not, you're almost going to do like a technical stand-up. Her right elbow should be on the ground, and she's going to bring her right leg back to get this knee on the floor here. That's a super confusing. Hopefully you follow my diagrams here. But basically, let me try that again. This leg is going to come back. This knee is going to swing to the floor. Okay. She's having trouble getting up because she's just trying to get up right now. But obviously, there's a physical barrier in the way. Got Nate on top and Zach on the bottom again. They run it. Nate going for the other arm this time. So this is something everyone should be doing if you have the opportunity, if you're going for the top side armbar, is to occupy both arms. Your opponent's main defense will not come from the arm you're attacking. It'll come from the opposite arm. So by occupying both arms, Nate did something very smart. He's taking a lot of Zach's defense away. Now, obviously, they're not going 100% right now, so let's see how Zach reacts. He manages to connect his hands together, buying himself some time. Beautiful. So let me rewind it a little bit. Oh, unfortunately, rewind it all the way to the end, or to the beginning, I mean. So we're here. Watch Zach's right elbow here. Zach's right elbow manages to sneak underneath. Where's my clicker? Zach's right elbow manages to sneak underneath Nate's leg. At the same time, you saw that Zach make it easier on himself by walking himself parallel. Now his next job is to deposit Nate's leg in between Zach's legs and then swing out wide to get Nate's knees apart. Boom, swings out wide, gets his elbow to the ground, comes up for the pass. Beautiful. Welcome back, guys. It's been a minute. Gym's been growing. We're also moving location, so I've been super busy. I've been uploading a little bit more on the striking end, but we're back on jiu-jitsu for this week. So going over mid and late armbar escapes. We went over early escapes last week, which I didn't get on video. We got Nate on top here. Let me get my marker again. It's been a minute since I did it. And Zach on the bottom here. Nate's going to be trying to apply the armbar, so he's isolating the arms. Probably about like 30% resistance here. Isolates, gets the leg over. Let's see which escape Zach does. He's got his hands connected. Looks like he's going for the hitchhiker. Pretty good. He should come out the back door and pass. Very good.